everyone, I'm Jen. I make comics using mainly traditional mediums, and I've had requests to show what materials I work with. So in this video, I'll very briefly go through the stuff I use to make this stuff. Okay, let's get to it. First up, for the bulk of my work, my sketching work, my roughs, my thumbnails, etc., I just use your standard A4 printer paper. Very cheap, very easy to get hold of. Now, of course, with this, I also use a mechanical pencil. This is the Faber-Castell, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it, 0.5 mechanical pencil, and I use B-lead with it. This happens to be the Staedtler brand. I also use the Staedtler Mars plastic eraser. I work on a light box most of the time. So this is, as you can see if we put the paper on top of it, this is a very handy, very slim line. The brand happens to be Huion. Again, I'm sorry, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Once I finish doing all the sketch work and I feel more comfortable actually working with something more expensive, I will go to my real watercolor paper, which is currently the Langton, which is a hot press paper, 300 GSM. It is lovely, it is very smooth, and it's just probably won't be picked up by the camera, but this is very, very easy to work on if you want to work with a lot of detail, and especially if you are working with dip pens like I am. So, as you can probably tell, I use a lot of deleter stuff. So I use mainly Deleter Black 3, which I always go on about. It is an amazing waterproof, bleed-proof ink that flows amazingly well with a G pen. This particular brand I'm using here is a Nico G pen, but a Deleter G pen works just as well for me, but I just find that sometimes the Nico one is just a little bit smoother on top of this paper. I have also tried several other dip pens, but I just find that these ones aren't quite as good of an all-rounder like the G pen is. So for example, we've got the Sagi pen, which is, as you can probably tell, quite a big boy compared. It is quite a big boy. It is lovely, it's just that for some reason I just didn't get on with it as well. But it's always nice to try new things. We also have, well, this is the G pen that, you know, I love. But this is also the Zebra version of the G pen, which I found to be a little bit too scratchy. But again, other people might enjoy working with scratchy mediums. And finally, we have the Maru pen, which I should be using more. You can see that this one is a lot smaller. I'm not sure if that's going to be able to focus. But compared to the G pen, you can see that it's actually quite tiny. And this one is perfect if you're doing little details like, you know, eyelashes or what have you. So I'm just lazy that I'm not working with that more often. I also use the Deleter White 2 ink. This is the one that we tend to call the chunky ink or something like that, the paste ink on stream. As you can see, it's literally just a paste. Nothing's going to come out. This is brilliant to put on top of your work to give it a bit of a shine, maybe in the eyes or something like that. And then we have the Deleter White 1, which I tend to refer to as the Jizz one. This one is very liquid. I'm not going to turn this one upside down. As you might be able to tell if I can open it again. Oh my god. This does have more of a liquid consistency to it. This is very lovely if you happen to be a person who works on spicy comics and you want to show the happy juices. Yes, lovely stuff. Highly recommended. Good. just going to try to close it again. There we go. Now there is a really handy spreadsheet, I think made by Deleter themselves, that shows the difference between the different blacks. I have tried both 2 and 1, but I didn't get on with them as well as with 3. And some of them are not waterproof, some of them flow a bit differently, some of them are not as opaque. But it all depends on, you know, your preferences. But for me, Deleter Black 3 is the absolute winner every time, and I again buy this in bulk because it is the most used thing in my studio. It is incredible and I can't recommend it enough. I go on about this way too much, but I love it. It's very good. Once my page has been inked and it's ready to be painted, I tend to just tape it down with this Tesa masking tape. For my watercolour painting, I use the Schminke watercolour, which is a fantastic brand of watercolour. I highly recommend it. Yes, I know it's disgusting and dirty. Please don't work like I do. It's bad. Also, this pan actually came with both gold and silver, which I rarely use because my work is scanned and then printed. But I look at these sometimes and feel sad and longing. Yeah, anyway. Together with this, I obviously need some kind of implement to paint the thing, and I am using a lot of synthetic imitation Kolinsky sable brushes now. So these ones are actually my my real Kolinsky sable that are over a decade old at this point. But the thing with really high quality watercolor brushes is that if you take good care of them, they can last for a very, very long time. But once they go, obviously you need to look at replacing them, and I have started now experimenting with more synthetic brands. So this is just a ProArt ProLean Plus made in England. They absolutely do the job. I would like to experiment some more with other synthetic brands in the future to see if we can get closer to Kolinsky sable in terms of water retention or whatever you would call it. But yeah, these ones absolutely do the job. So yeah, these are just the most frequently used materials for most of my comic work. I sometimes go a little bit wild and use collage and ink and whatnot. Like we could start having discussions about pearlescent liquid acrylic and things like that, but if I started properly going through all of that, maybe the Dr. P.H. Martins and the differences with them, we would be here all day, and I need to get back to work. So I hope that this was an informative video. I don't know. Now get back to work, everyone.